Yes. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Samvad. Today we have someone very special. We have Tulsi, all the way from the US. And before we brief in, Tulsi was part of our weight loss program. She's non-diabetic. A lot of you guys think freedom from diabetes is only freedom from diabetes, but we also have a freedom from obesity and hypertension, PCOD, and a lot of other things which tend to come along with pure obesity. And that's been a new, although we've had it for a couple of years, but now we have an entire dedicated team for it also. So Tulsi, on that note, welcome. It's a pleasure.
Thank you, Dr. Malhar. Thank you, and it's a pleasure to be here.
Great. Now, breathe in.
Yes.
Yeah. No, it's great to have you. And now, let's start with, who are you, about yourself?
Yeah, so I'm in batch 77 over there.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Yeah, batch 77. Yay! I'm in FFD since December 2021, and I'd like to take you and your audience in my journey of 18 kgs loss of weight, and I want to say that it's doable, possible for anyone, if you know what to do in FFD.
So where are you from again? Where did you say? Where in the US are you?
In US, I'm in New Jersey.
New Jersey.
Yeah.
Nice. And you're working. How does your time play out?
Yeah. I'm from a town called Mysore in Karnataka, in India. And my father was a professor of law, and my mom had a business of her own. And I have 3 younger sisters. And we had a joint family, like 20, 25 people. And we had a very tiny house, like a living room. We all slept next to each other. And we woke up at 4 to go get water across the railway line. So we had a very good working family. My mom kept it tight. We had compromises, disagreements. We knew all that stuff, and that's a good skill to have. So I moved to US 31 years ago, and it was rough in the beginning, and then I got a bachelor's degree in computer science, and have been working in software engineering since then. I have a 22-year-old son, and he's super stoked that I'm taking care of my health now. And my husband is very supportive also.
Awesome. That's great background. Now, just to give you a background, when people travel across borders, I have seen a shift in the diet pattern, so typically when you move out of a non-native environment, so to speak, like, were you overweight in childhood?
No, I was very thin, actually. I'll show you the photos.
Yeah.
So when I moved to US, my food choices changed. So I gravitated towards pizza and fried foods. And there was no fried food that I said no to. So I just ate everything. And my size, my dress size kept changing, kept going up very little, but it went up enough. I thought it was temporary, that it's going to go back and everything's fine, but it didn't happen, kept on getting worse. And I tried different diets. That was me. I tried different things. And none of them worked because I was hungry all the time. I was thinking about food all the time. So I was like, okay, I could not sustain it. And then I had a motorcycle accident.
Oh.
And this was like 8 to 9 years ago. And at that time, I was on a dirt bike on a muddy, slushy road, and I was avoiding all the rocks, and I hit one of them, and the motorcycle pinned me down to the ground, and I had torn ligaments and stuff. But my husband and my son took me to the car to drive home. And guess what I did, Dr. Malhar? I ordered pizza on the way back home. That was my comfort food. So whenever I had doubt, I ordered 2 pizzas. That was me. I kept on gaining weight. So after that, I stopped walking, jogging, everything stopped. But eating continued. I kept eating pizzas, all that. And all my pain went up, a neck pain, lower back pain, upper back pain. I guess it's the weight. It must have been the weight. So I was in a bad condition.
Have you seen this commonly in I mean, let's say, let's call it an immigrant kind of situation. Have you seen this kind of shift of diet causing in a lot of your friends and things like that? Have you seen the sudden and steady, in a way, weight gain for a lot of people?
Same pattern, yes. Same pattern. I see this all over.
Yeah, it does happen. So I said, like I said, most weight gain is not what we call pathological weight gain. It's not necessarily just bad lifestyle or bad choices. Sometimes it's an environmental thing. We just don't get access to native foods that often, and things change, circumstances change. So that's okay. Like I said, the problem with obesity is people are very judgmental with it. They tend to assume all fat is the same, and no exercise and no diet. But it's not that simplistic. But take us into your you've taken us through your weight gain journey now. But if you want to show us your the deck, the slides, it'll be really useful for people to get a feel.
Sure. You can see.
Yeah, it's sharing. It's sharing. Yeah. It's full screen.
Yeah. This is the transition photo I wanted to share. You can see that my waist dropped in size. So that was about 8 inches. And I was eating more after joining FFD. So that's a big deal for me. And here on the left side, you can see me stressed out. And I was doing a lot of gym, but I didn't lose any weight. And on the right side, I'm happier, fitter, and doing way less gym than before.
I have difficulty assuming that this is the same person to some extent. And there's a third person giving this interview now. So
people in the gym don't recognize me.
Are you sure these are not stock images from Google or something? And you just Photoshop the machines at the back.
Thank you. And this is my favorite photo because I was always conscious of my arm being out of shape. And you can see a picture of beach behind me on the left side. I would walk about an hour and a half every day. And I would end up being hungry, go back home, on the way back home, order pizza and put on some more weight. And that was me.
Yeah, but it's soul food, yeah? The gut brain gets happy. It was not the pizza. No judging the food either. So this is a chart of how your 4-month BMI has moved.
Yes, I plotted the graph because I like objective view of things. Yeah. And data also gives me when, why, what happened. And in 2 years down the road, I'm gaining weight. I know where to go, how to fix it. So that's why I do data analysis. So you can see my weight dropped all the way from 30.5, around 30, all the way down to 23.5. And you can see a light green line going down from left to bottom right. That's the weight trend, weight loss trend. So it's super.
It's been steady. It's been quite steady. And I think, for a lot of people who don't know what WF is water fasting, SNS is soups, nuts, and smoothies, which is another extended version of fasting. So, as you can see, at some point there was a starting to plateau, I think, after the fasting. And I think there the exercise started again, your muscle mass probably increased, got more toned, and then again the water fasting. So, and then a lot of people worry that they started gym and the weight goes up. And that's a perfect trend because that's the muscle strength increasing. And that's wonderful to see because again, after that, you have managed to trigger the weight loss. So
Yes.
these changing phases is what people tend to get this. They're like, I joined the gym and my weight went up, but yes, it is temporary. As you can see, it's awesome to see the chart actually playing out. Like, this is almost an ideal chart, in terms of a 3 to 4 month journey. So carry on. Yeah,
It's,
it's wonderful. Look
yeah,
at the
it's
dates.
just,
You've got November 29th to March 28th. So
yeah,
you know
about 4 months. It's super linear, right?
yeah, it's quite
Um,
linear. It's
yeah.
yeah, most people are not that linear, but it's still
Mhm.
relatively. I think you've done significant fasting. That is what has kept it linear. It's really broken the plateaus. So
Yeah.
really nice.
Yeah. And this is the photo that inspired me. This is my sister, Vidya Vishwamitra from Bangalore. And she's my beacon, my North Star for FFD. And this is what inspired me to start FFD. I'll talk more
Am
later.
I am I talking to her or to you?
Oh,
Who
maybe.
are we talking to? I guess. Nice.
This
Go ahead. Go ahead.
this is me in my early 20s, and I put on a lot of weight after that. That's what happened. So just wanted to show that part, and we're back to you. You can ask
And
me any
that's
question.
really awesome. So tell me one thing, what was your primary other, I mean, I'm sure your sister was one of the primary triggers or influencers to get you to join, to finally take the step. But other than that, at what point had you hit personally that you really just had enough? Like, I just have to do this. And then what triggered
Um,
you to join us?
yeah. So as I mentioned that when in the weight loss, I had a lot of pain, right? So doctors are telling me, get this shot, that shot, fix this. Where all do you keep fixing? I'm like, so I felt like if I try another diet, I'm going to fail again. So there's no point in trying. And then last Thanksgiving time, end of November, my sister sent me, Vidya, sent me a photograph, the one I showed you. And I'm
Mhm.
looking at the photo and said, I'm looking, and she has thinned out so much, and that healthy look on her face, that I couldn't believe it. And I talked to her and said, how did this happen? And she's like, oh, that is simple. I said, huh? And she said, yeah, and she gave me a 1,000-foot view of FFD, and I kind of got curious, asked more questions. She said, okay, if you want to try for 10 days, I'll help you. And if you like it, then you can go for the information session. Dr. Tripathi has one. I can send you the link. And I said, I'm looking at her photo and I said, okay, it's no brainer. I want to
Yeah.
try. And she walked me through for the 10 days, and I lost 6 pounds, 1.5 kgs.
Yeah. Give or take. Yeah,
So
that's okay.
yeah, so I was supposed to gain weight eating so much food, and I was losing weight, and that I was really curious now. So I went to Dr. Tripathi's information session, and there he explained how insulin resistance can affect your weight gain. I'm like, oh, that's something I didn't know.
Yeah.
And then he said that if you do what you're doing, you will
Yeah.
get what you're getting.
Yeah.
So that was me. The jive with
Yeah.
me is perfect for me. And then he explained the phase-wide approach. Each phase you
Yeah.
have a short deadline, short goals, and you go to the next one, the different set of goals. And that was systematic approach. That there was a lot of thinking that went to it. So that gave me confidence to try. And I didn't have much to lose at this point, except weight.
Except
But
for that's
I,
why
I,
that's why I told you
I
to
signed
take up
up.
cycling. So you go very far away from the house and lose it there, so you can't find it again. If you keep
From
losing
that,
it in the gym, you'll find it again.
and from that point on, it's amazing blur for me.
And that's really awesome. But see, now this is all the rosy part. I'm sure it was not as easy as it sounds. So what were the significant challenges that you faced? I mean, I'm sure motivation dips, or when the results don't happen every day. I'm sure there were certain moments where you know
Yeah, with a lot of challenges actually. In phase one, we had the diet, lot of things to eat, but we also had to do smoothie. And I and smoothie are not friends.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
but it's a small price to pay. So I just drank it anyway.
Yeah.
In phase 1, we had to do 10 minutes of exercise, going up and down the stairs, just 50, 60 steps. For me, 8, 9 steps enough. And I was like, oh, that's too much for me. And I talked to my sister, Vidya, and she said, just put on your headphone, plays 80s music, modern talking, and try it. And I said, okay. I did that. And I was doing 300 steps. I didn't even realize I was doing 300 steps. So that was like the fix right there. Phase 2, 3, 2, 1 pattern, 3, 2, 3, 2, 1. So
the fasting, intermittent fasting. Yeah.
Intermittent fasting. And the 4th week was a surprise. And at this point, my team, 17, we were discussing, that's when we got close. And we started discussing what it could be. Then we were thinking, oh, we did all the missing meals and all that. We have to have some treat. I'm sure they'll give us some treat, probably sweets or 7-course meal. And they came around and said, you're going to be fasting 24 to 48 hours. I'm like, no. But then our group, we put our heads together and we came up with different tricks on what we learned in the 24, 48 hours.
Yeah.
And the things that work, they're not just rules, but these are tricks to get around, but actually do it. So these are action-packed kind of tricks. And we said that and shared it within us, and that worked to do the long fasts, and also for people who hadn't fasted at all. And this one worked perfectly for them also. And for me also, I did 4 fasts and it was an amazing, I guess I can say I have learned the art of fasting. So I can switch like this from next meal, I can switch to a 7-day, not a problem. So we got used to it.
There's a term for this. It's called metabolic flexibility. So you can fast and feast at will. Your occasional feasting is not a worry, but you can just go in and out of fasting, which is very hard because most people get headaches immediately when they skip a meal, and that's primarily because of the high insulin. So the blood sugar goes down and then they get headaches. But one of the things we have seen, a lot of people give us that feedback that after the 2nd month, they can just they can skip meals at will, So I think that's a very good gift. But what's been so special about us? What's been so special about this program versus all the other diets that you've tried?
It's simple. I'm a busy. I have a busy schedule. I work full time. I cook, clean, laundry, shopping for food. So there's flexibility in FFD diet. So a lot of things to choose from. And FFD has its own recipe section. It's a feast there. You can choose so many. I just chose a couple of them and stuck with them. So it works beautifully for me, and it's tasty, savory food. And so it's easy to sustain the diet. The second thing is that the group sessions, there's one group session at the beginning of every phase, and it's delivered with such passion and clear goals on what is expected of us. And that is very unique to FFD. I feel that it sets them apart from any other diet plan I went to. So there's one from Dr. Tripathi, one from you, Dr. Mahar, and one from Dr. Mayurika. It's very, very useful. And in this diet, I get to eat a lot. I like eating a lot. So I don't want to gym too much, and this diet helps me with that. So all in all, it's a winner, and my group is what's keeping me.
I think
straight.
the group energy was one of our founding pillars, that we wanted people to be together, and that was one of the key, that's the inspiration bit, because support is, the team is there, the diet expert, the exercise expert and all that. But the education we do in the group sessions, but that inspiration that comes from the WhatsApp groups, and I think you have seen on the other groups also, the athlete groups, that people do a lot more than they ever thought they could do. So any words on your group, on your 77 batch, anything you'd like to say to them? I'm sure they are all watching.
Hi 77 batch. I'd like to say that our group is very special. We are a very tight group. At the beginning, we made an unwritten agreement that since we are in the same boat, we're going to share the challenges, failures, and successes, all of them. So suppose I need help, I just have to ask, and there are several hands coming in to help without expecting anything. And if I'm about to give up, and you'll hear them, oh, you just have 2 miles to go. Look how far you've come. You can do it. There's that encouragement thing. And if I don't have any fight left in me, they're there for you. And we call our group judgment-free zone. We don't judge each other. For us, group success is more important than individual success. That's our group. So it's a very, very special group, like I said.
That's incredible. I think but in a way, you have, had that section where you have come in and, sort of taken. We have seen a lot of batches where, I know for the others who are watching, it's always got to be the 1 or 2 people on the group who take initiative, who drive that kind of change. And I think kudos to you that you have taken on that mantle, and.
Thank you. Thank you, batch 77, for letting me. But it's actually all of us motivating each other, knowingly or unknowingly. We are backing each other up, and that's what keeping us all. It's a conscience keeper for us. It keeps us straight, and we fall off the ledge, but we learn from the mistakes, and we are documenting it, because 2 years down the road, who's going to help us? So we need to know how to get back.
That's true. So and lifelong friends, they are lifelong friends who you make along the way. But any word on your experts, or your diet and exercise?
Yes.
Who are your experts?
Yes. Yeah, that's another thing special about FFD. The support system is so strong. So you get to, if you fall off, there's a system that you can use to get back into with the rest of us. So we have experts, diet experts, exercise experts, transformation experts. There are admins there, constantly watching us and watching over us. And then we also have doctors. It's, of course, our group. So it's a full support system, well thought of, and there's no way you can fall off. You just have to ask. You have to ask. They're there. There are nuggets everywhere. FFD, I feel, did not give us a magic bullet, but they give us several nuggets that you pick and then choose, and what works for you. You can experiment, and you get.
Yeah, I find it very insight, like, given the economic strata and given the education strata that most of us belong to. I think it's just 1 or 2 insights when you pick up, like you said, when you attended the first session, and he said, if you keep doing what you're doing, you're going to keep getting what you're getting. That's, one sentence can be a game changer. You don't even listen to the rest of it, because you found that one thing for you to take action. And I think similarly in the interactions with your experts, I think everywhere you must have found these small nuggets that have, kind of sparked your imagination, got you to do a little research. But sometimes people complain, is the program very hectic?
Program? Yeah. See, that's another thing, that it gives you different nuggets, right? So you pick what works for you. You don't have to follow all. You just pick one, what you need, and that works. I experiment. That's why I use data. I experiment and figure out what to do. There's like in this phase, I'm in the inner transformation. So I was pessimistic.
Yeah.
And expert worked with me and made it like a positive. I was learned optimism.
Yeah.
And then I was somewhere in the middle, and there was Dr. Tripathi's presentation, and he looked at the audience, and he looked at them, and one question, he's had one question: is really life so bad? And like, the switch just switched over for me. Like, those are the little things that so special about FFD.
I'm so happy you've learned optimism, because it's it's a slightly higher intellectual grip, that you get. But when you get triggered with the concepts that me pessimistic, because you're so optimistic, but yet when it comes to health, people have, like, we call it learned pessimism, no? So you have to learn optimism over a period of so many years of practicing so many things. The little pessimism seeps in, which is part of life, I guess. So, that's one of the major pillars that we want to drive through the psychology department, is get you to be optimistic, because there'll be crests and troughs again over the years. There will be again a little bit of weight creep over the years, but now you know how to deal with it, right? Tulsi, yes. Anything else you want to share? I mean, it's a pleasure. We've connected so often, so we'll keep talking, but anything that you, closing notes?
Yes, I can say that if somebody's on the edge whether to join FFD or not, that if you have fear of failure like me, then FFD is for you, because FFD has this support system. They'll catch you if you fail, and they'll provide you full support. You can eat more, exercise less, and it doesn't even feel like a diet. It's
and
a great
the athlete identity is happening now.
Yes, I'm gymming. Yes, I go to, that was a challenge I had. I went there to the gym, and I loved it and all that, right? But going to gym was the problem. I had a spreadsheet of excuses. Oh, I have to clean this. I have to do this. I couldn't do it. And then there was your presentation, Dr. Manaris, was a catch-up session. And you said, just do it, just go. Don't think, don't plan, just go. And that's what I followed the last few weeks, and that's working for me. And since last week, I actually like going. So
it becomes a habit, And last closing note, I want Pramod to come in and, tell us.
Sash? Yes.
Hi, Pramod. How are you?
Hi, Dr. Malar.
You left a little bit down. Yeah, that's cool. Thanks so much for joining us.
Sure, yeah. Thank you for having me.
How's Tulsi 2.0?
Amazing. Yes, so she and I had been looking at FFD together. I mean, starting right from the info session, we viewed that together. And I remember right out of the info session, it was this epiphany for us. More important than the will to win is the courage to begin. And that's where we started. And I have to say that everything has changed. It impacted us in so many ways. We eat better. We work together towards this. And I'm a little more playful. So if there's any comic relief, that would be me. But we collaborate together on all of this. Yeah. There's awesome. Along the journey, we found that our body types are different. So I playfully say that we're a house divided. She's trying to lose weight, I'm trying to gain weight. So other than that, we collaborate on pretty much everything.
That's awesome. And anything specific you feel that you played a part and she was having bad days, or I mean, from a spouse support perspective, what would you like to advise people? Because a lot of spouse members are watching, and they get a little lost on what role they should play, as caregivers, or to help.
I would say, she made up for both of us. She had that much drive in her. I would say, if if there was sticking with it would have been the juice feasting part. I think Tulsi struggled with it, but so it would be, let's just do this. I'm with you, and I would do it too. So for just be moral support for her. At that
Just a
time.
pat on the back.
Yes, pat on the back and go through it with her.
Yeah, I think that's one of the key lessons that most people wonder is, what do we do? Because finally everyone's it's a little individual, they want to contribute. So I think, like you said, and I think going to the gym, he's now making time, and you're able to adjust accordingly, like house responsibilities, things like that, everything's working out.
Yes, absolutely. We set aside time for going to the gym, and I'm a runner, so I run, and she does her thing.
She was also a runner, but she was running from the gym. Now she's running to the gym. So it's okay. Most people are runners, don't worry. Everybody's a runner. It's just whether you're running towards or away. So don't worry. No, it's all good. Yeah, so good to have you guys. Thanks so much for joining. I wish your son could have also joined us, but it's awesome. Tulsi, take care of yourself. Keep going on the group. Keep being Tulsi. Okay.
Yes.
And Pramod, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
And looking forward for many more years of association. Okay. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Dr. Malan.
Yep. Bye. See you.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.